Hello everyone and welcome back to Kobean History. Today's video is part of a two-part video series about Belgravia, which is one of the more affluent neighborhoods in London. This video is more of an off-the-cuff video, while Andrew, aka ibxtoycat on YouTube, and I are walking through the area and kind of talking about what we're seeing and a little bit of the history as well. The other video that I mentioned will be a more in-depth history video of how this area, which used to be a swampland, turned into one of the most affluent areas in London. And that video will also be linked at the end of this one if you want to check that out. But with this little introduction out of the way, let's get to the video.
So this is Kobe. He is the person you know from this channel, and most of the stuff he does is like at least semi-scripted, would you say?
Yeah,
if not fully scripted.
Well, things like this, when we walk around, it's semi-scripted. If I'm at home, it's pretty much fully scripted.
But I have the idea that like sometimes the off-the-cuff content is great, like just the conversations we're having about all the embassies we're seeing around here, etc. I think they're interesting, so I'm going to hand him some video footage and he's going to turn it into a thing. And I reckon this is going to be a video you enjoy, internet. So right now we're in Embassy Square, right?
Yeah, Belgrave Square in Belgravia, which is pretty much the center of embassies in London.
Exactly, and although it's not coming up too much in the video that you're seeing that's actually scripted, in this one you can see that like we've just walked past Bahrain, right? We're probably sure Bahrain, and there's Serbia, and if you look behind us there's Spain and Finland maybe? No, that can't be Finland. What is that?
It has something on it, I don't know.
But we're seeing a lot of embassies around here, and why did all the different countries choose to put their embassies in the same place?
Well, since it was built in the early 1800s, there were already quite a few different foreigners notable foreigners in the area, but it was actually it was actually after the Second World War that they actually started to concentrate here. It might be just because it's such a pretty area and they got the money to spare.
I think it's got to be that, like the level of these things is quite interesting. Also, in front of us right now, there are two flags I don't know, and like some weird old German flag. That's not the current one, right? That's
well, I think the middle one is Bhutan. No, is it?
It's either Bhutan or the Nepal, maybe. No,
no, I think
Comoros.
Is that even a country?
We should knock on the door and be like, hey, you guys a country? And then like, that is Germany, right? But what's their flag all about? Is that the old West German flag that they've just kept?
I don't know. Careful that you don't fall on the street.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, and on the lamppost too. That is definitely Finland, right? I guess they don't use their official country flags here. They're using maybe like the official emblem and whatever. Because that's Austria 100%, right?
Yeah, that's Austria.
And they've got like some...
and they got the little thing on there. Like maybe a little crest.
Yeah, it's the more formal flag rather than the... Is that... Okay, sorry, that's a British flag, right?
British embassy.
Is this the embassy? I've never been to an embassy. I'd really love to go sometime, so... If that is the British embassy in London, then that'd be great. But you'll notice there's an EU flag next to the main flag too, right? Because
the Portugal later.
Got Portugal around there, and you can see next to Portugal, you can see next to Austria, you can see next to Germany, Spain, that they have all of these same. They have the EU flag next to their own one. It's very interesting. Is this the way we need to be headed, by the way? Or we slightly
no, but we were kind of looking for an entrance. But
oh
I guess,
yeah. How did they get in? Wait, fun fact here, because we've just entered a thing that said private. Did you know trespassing is not a criminal crime? You can be civilly tried for it. But realistically, I think it's only a crime if they tell you to get off and you don't. So you're allowed to go anywhere, as long as you don't break something, which we did not, and as long as you don't like do so. As long as you don't do another crime there, and when someone tells you to get off, you're safe.
Or we can just say we live here.
Yeah, we look pretty local. I think we look pretty local. All of this is owned by the Grosvenor, right?
Yeah, Grosvenor.
It's spelled Grosvenor on screen, giving you some editing work. Yeah. But it's said, how do you say it?
Grosvenor?
Grosvenor. Something, yeah, like, I always hear it said like that. And you reckon it's a family that goes back to the Norman Conquest?
Yeah, so I looked into it. So the family goes back to the Norman Conquest. In Normandy, they were the master hunter, which, if I remember correctly, is in French le Grosvenor or something like that.
This was a family that was a big deal 1,000 years ago, or just under 1,000 years ago now.
Yeah.
And now they're, what's the title that the Grosvenor has?
Duke of Westminster. So yeah.
And where's that on like the hierarchy of like,
it's
you know,
pretty.
how many layers down from the king or queen?
I think in England it's actually like one layer.
Oh, literally, like
because you know the children of the queen are like the
they will get
dukes
like
as
the
well,
Duke of Cornwall or the Duke of Wales or whatever else, the Prince of Wales. Oh, the Prince of Wales is the.
I guess
always
that's
the
below
prince.
it, and then you have the dukes, I guess.
Maybe it's 2 layers, but yeah, it's
Oh, yeah,
complex
yeah, I like
system.
that, yeah. You know.
By the way, what country is that? It doesn't have an EU flag, so it can't be.
Oh, it's Kobean.
So Cote d'Ivoire, maybe, or the
Oh
other
yeah,
one.
could be Cote d'Ivoire. Yeah.
They have a really nice embassy in London. Have you ever seen the North Korean embassy in London?
No, I haven't.
Okay, on screen right now, again, sorry for the editing work. On screen right now, North Korean embassy. It's just a random 4-bed house somewhere really far out in West London. Don't ask me why they have a random 4-bedroom house as their embassy. I think it's like, North Korea's not a particularly rich country. Is it down there or?
Go straight. Yeah.
But yeah, fun fact.
So the Grosvenor family, they actually were like untitled nobility for like a long time. I think it was in the 1700s that they actually became proper barons. That was north in Cheshire. Then through marriage they came to acquire this land.
Just a field at one point,
yeah,
right,
yeah,
when
field,
it was.
yeah. It was known as 5 fields.
Wait, the price is on screen right now.
I don't know, it was through marriage, so they kind of got.
But could we have a market price of what it is, maybe? Or is it going to be too hard to find?
It's going to be too hard, yeah.
The price was 16 shillings. We'll go with that, and that sounds correct enough, sure.
Yeah, for the time.
That's from when you go far enough back, like the currency stops making sense and price match. Like you might as well just make up random numbers for all the impact it's going to make. So it was worth 16 shillings back in the 1700s, but today.
So yeah, today it's one of the most the richest and wealthiest areas of London. Yeah, so when they were barons, then by the time they developed this area, they were Marquesses of Westminster, and yeah, now they're dukes. So in the long term, it's pretty fast to climb up the peerage ladder.
And you said that the guy who is, you know, like the current heir of the family, or the guy in charge of the family, he's got some crazy status of like richest man under 30, right?
Yeah, richest man. He's, I think his net worth was 10.1 billion.
And
like the family.
Richest man under 30, not in the UK, in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's also the Duke of Westminster. So he got that title as well, so he's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, right, like 10 billion, kind of cool. Also having a Duke title, that's where it's at in my opinion. Having a church here is going to be a pretty big deal, right?
Yeah, so this church has been here since the development, since the whole area was built up. It pretty much looks original, but it burned down in a fire in the 1800s sometime, and then in the last century it was renovated as well. But yeah, it's a pretty old church.
So this is a little slanderous, but the way that all of this area came to be owned was how exactly? What was the line of marriage?
So the Grosvenors, they had their holdings in the north. At the time they came in possession of this, I believe they were still baronets, which is under actual barons.
Under like that feudal system where like, yeah, like that's quite low. People lower baron.
Yeah, so they married the sole heiress to this farmstead. This area was part of a farmstead, and her name was Mary Davies. Yeah, Davies, I think it is, Mary Davies. And she was a 12-year-old girl, and she was the sole heir to this whole area. So this one of the Grosvenors married her, and through marriage the Grosvenors came to control this, like own this area as well. Back then it wasn't that important yet, because London was still mostly north, well, where the city of London is now. So for a long time this stayed just fields. It was again known as the 5 Fields back then. A very bad place during the night, which we will get into.
For a long time I was just imagining like the reason that there were fields is because before cars and before any proper transport, you'd have to be walking distance to Westminster or London, right? Like, if you weren't anything else, it's just like, well, yep, might as well be a field. In the same way that anything that's like a 3-hour drive from London now, it's close to London, but it's still not valuable enough to not be a field.
Yeah, so this area was actually kind of marshland, so it was really hard to build.
Oh, is that one of the reasons too? Like, it was just a mess, so they're like, yeah, leave it as farm, it's not worth developing.
Exactly, yeah. But then so that stayed for like hundreds of years. And then once one of the futures Grosvenors kind of thought, it was when George III moved into Buckingham Palace nearby. That's when this whole area started to be developed. Then this
Quickly
area,
derail you, is George III the king that lost the Americas?
I believe it is, yeah. Yeah, it is, yeah.
Bad king then.
That's I think the Americans like kind of influenced that opinion, but I don't think he was that bad.
I thought he was insane, right? Like, he got a disease that made him go like I know he pooped purple at one point.
Yeah,
that's a fact I know.
I think I think the Americans made him out to be worse than he was actually.
Yeah, the reality is he's not a bad king. He's just a king that made decisions that anyone would have made, but it's easy to point to a figurehead rather than the systemic things.
So now we've actually reached Elizabeth Street, which is one of the few like kind of shopping streets in Belgravia.
Yeah, you were saying earlier there is literally one supermarket in the entirety, you know, the size of this area. There's one supermarket, right?
Which we will have a look at in a minute.
It's a Waitrose if you're British and you know what that means.
So yeah, there's this shopping street, and then there's some to the north as well, which we will have a look at. But yeah, to go back on the marriage thing. So when George III came to live in Buckingham Palace, there was kind of this land was becoming more valuable. So the Marquess of Westminster at the time, they hired Thomas Kobean, I think. There's a pub named after him.
It might be this one. This is a really busy pub.
I believe that's actually the pub named after him.
Wait, we can find it. That's that's the one. The Thomas. Yeah. They hide it under the thing. And it's gonna be a bit awkward trying to.
Yeah, that's okay. That can take a minute. I'll actually cross the street and
But the lesson I took away from that inheritance story was that the reason that man, who is currently the richest person under 30 in the world, got so rich is because one of his ancestors married a 12-year-old.
Yeah, that's correct.
So just remember, next time you're thinking like, oh, I sure am running out of money this Friday, marry a 12-year-old. That's the lesson you should take, if nothing else from this video. So he was just gonna walk past and be like, yep, that's the Thomas Cubit, maybe get a picture. I was like, if you're taking a picture, you gotta indulge in the British tradition of grabbing a drink at any pub you go past. So, but yeah, this is the Thomas Cubit, and they serve delightful drinks. It actually is really good. So, you're talking about this area.
I was talking about Belgravia. There used to be a river flowing through here. It was named the Westbourne River, and it came from the Serpentine in Hyde Park. So they blocked it off there to create a lake. But they still have a little waterfall, which I also took some video of earlier. So they have a little waterfall and a little river coming from it. It used to like run through Belgravia, but you might know there are a few little rivers in London that have been diverted underground into pipes for the buildings to be built on top of. That's what happened here. So the whole river was diverted into pipes underground, and the area was built on top of it, and it still flows underneath here and flows into the Thames.
And it's the craziest fact because I was literally on a date literally 2 days ago, and the girl's not from London. She was just like, "Oh, this looks like a river here," and I was like, "No, it's actually a pond or a lake or something like that." I thought it was localized to Hyde Park. Apparently, it just goes underground, and she was right, not me.
I just want to take this little clip to correct something that I said in the clip earlier. First of all, sorry for the background noise. But after that clip, I actually found out that at the moment, the Serpentine in Hyde Park is not fed by the Westbourne anymore. So what I said in the clip was true originally, so when it was first built, the serpentine was made by blocking off the Westbourne River. But today it's not anymore, so the water in the serpentine is not from the Westbourne, which later on was diverted. So nowadays the Westbourne River is actually diverted around the serpentine in Hyde Park, but it still flows underneath Belgravia. Part of the reason that was done is that they eventually actually used the Westbourne River to divert into the sewers to clean that out a little bit, and so they didn't want the dirty sewer water going into Hyde Park.
Do you know about that one river they didn't turn into a pipe, they turned into a bridge? So there's a tube station where you can see a bridge of water, like the river is turned into.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Put it on screen right now, more editing work.
Oh, and a little side note here, the river that Andrew actually mentioned is also the Westbourne. And the tube station is Sloane Square, which, unbeknownst to us, we were actually really close to. And it's where the Westbourne flows after it leaves Belgravia. So that's actually the other end of the river. Yeah, so unbeknownst to us, we were actually very close. And in the segment of the other video that I'm making about Belgravia, where I talk about the bloody bridge, in that clip we were actually only like a street away from that actual place where it flows over the tube station.
So in the UK we have pretty uniform houses compared to the continent, right?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. For example, in Belgium, they can do whatever they want, they can build whatever they want, but here it's like with restrictions and regulations on like if you want to build something on this street, like it has to be like this.
And what are the property values for one of these literally cookie cutter copy paste houses in this area?
I'm actually not sure about the exact value.
Give a range.
But, well, the most expensive house in London in 2008 was sold in this area. It was in a square which we will go to near the end of the video. And it was like two of these kinds of houses that merged together, and it was sold for 150 million. So yeah.
Is that dollars or pounds, do you know?
Oh, that's pounds, yeah.
So we're talking like 200 or 250 million dollars at the time. Like hundreds of, probably one of the most valuable properties in the world, right, at that stage.
Yeah.
That's insane. So we're walking around, where about are we right now, actually?
Like Belgravia, but like on the border with Kensington and Chelsea.
So we're walking around this area, and the numbers, one, don't make any sense at all. Like, we've gone from 80, you can see in the background, 93 is there. And then without any gap we go down to the 40s, then without any gap we're in the 17s and the teens again. All of the houses are pretty uniform, as Kobe was just saying. But there's this one house over here, which is just like a miniature version of all the ones around it. Like, make sure that's proper. What's the deal with that? Try and guess what the deal with that is. Use your historic, you know, I can't even.
I don't know. It's just it looks quite fun. Maybe they got bored of like the big houses.
Decided they wanted a nice quaint house.
Just like that one has to be different as well. It's got a little different color.
It's the Diplomat Hotel.
Oh.
Do you think it actually does cater mostly for diplomats? Because we are in embassy town, right?
Yeah, maybe.
If you've ever been anywhere that focuses on like, you know, like embassy business or whatever, I went into the centre of Brussels once. They had the published, like, I spent £60 in a hotel, but the published room rate was 900, and there were just people walking in paying that, because like, if you're either a politician on expenses or you're like, it's not your problem, right? It's not your, so fun fact. Try and go to the embassy area if you want a nice hotel, but never go in there on the day, or you'll get the opposite of that. Oh yeah, we're in Chelsea now, as opposed to Kensington and Chelsea? That's confusing.
Yeah,
Wait, is there Kensington and Chelsea separate to Chelsea?
Yeah, because Kensington, wait, borough? It should be the borough of Kensington and Chelsea. Kensington and Chelsea.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe there's a, I don't know if there is a separate borough called Chelsea and Kensington, or if that's just a mess up.
I think maybe it's just old, because I think it was like only recently that they merged them.
Yeah, it is
an old sign.
Fun fact. I'll give you my fun fact that Kensington and Chelsea is the lowest council tax in the entirety of the UK. It's about 40% less than even a pretty you know, like poor area will get, like in the rest of England. And even with it's £600 a year, which, if you know council tax rates, is very low, and they have to refund huge amounts of money, because right now they're sitting on this amount of money. Sorry, the number's easy, you can Google it, it's easy. More editing work for Kobe there, but they have this amount of money right now, and they just have to keep on giving it back, because having this many millions in a cash account is just not a smart investment. Fun fact. Also, do you know this is the borough where Grenfell happened?
Oh, is it? Oh, but it's more north, right?
It's it's included in the borough though.
Oh,
I know that as a fact, because that came under fire recently, because you're giving millions back to millionaires, and also people are dying in fires where you're not giving them right cladding. So yeah, isn't that a tragic fact? Would you say Grenfell is history at this point? I mean, I know everything's history, but like
2-3 years ago now.
Yeah, like
I guess so. Recent history.
It's really hard to cross the street in this part of London. Like, we've been walking around for a few hours now, and there are very few pedestrian crossings. Like, this is an area designed to be walked. This is an area designed for the car, and exclusively the car. Look how nice these houses are. Do you know how to describe a house that looks like this? Like Georgian or Victorian or whatever?
I'm not sure about this one, because it's kind of like the Dublin model you usually call Tudor. You've got quite a lot of brick as well, so it's like maybe mock Tudor.
Yeah, this has been a surprisingly nice part of London to walk through, because it's like, as a pro tip, just to give you the experience. How would you recommend this for someone coming to London for their like first trip, like just explore Belgravia?
Maybe just to have like a little walk through, like to see where if you work hard, where you could end up.
You have to work very hard to end up here. That does have to be said. But the council tax is lower, so you know you got that planned out. Oh wait, it's Ecuador, I think.
Oh,
wait, that might wait. If it's like 211, like as in half yellow, it's Ecuador, I think. We got one last embassy on the walk, and we're going to work out what it is. Maybe Colombia, actually. Oh, it is Ecuador. This is the embassy where Assange was. One of those balconies was where he did his address.
Right, yeah.
So this is a great place to end the video. The Ecuadorian embassy. Would you like to, see what it was like for a policeman to police Assange? Because they have to stand outside just in case he came out.
Oh yeah, because they had to work it, right, yeah.
We worked at, like, they did the maths, and there was like hundreds of thousands was wasted on just like outside. Because that's how important embassy law is. But yeah, outro of the video in a nice, calm, natural way.
Yeah. So thanks for watching this video about Belgravia. I think we've moved into Knightsbridge now, but thanks for watching. I will make a separate video about this sometime in the future. Might be a year or two, but yeah, sometime.
This is just a fun thing. I was saying you should test, and you can prove that he was right by, I don't know, liking it or whatever the YouTube equivalent of that is these days. Yeah, leave a comment down below if you're like, this was swell, I like the conversation, or leave a comment saying, you know what, this was disorganized, why didn't you finish your point about Henry Cubitt or whatever was unfinished.
I'll probably do it in post, so you'll probably have seen it already. So thanks for watching.
Goodbye. Wait, no, you go. I cut you off in your outro.
So on screen right now you can probably see some other videos of mine.
One of the videos on screen right now is the other video about Belgravia, where I go deeper into the history and wrap up some points that weren't finished in this one. Or if you're interested in some other historical topics such as medieval professions, you can check out my channel to find more of those videos.